Today I messed up by telling my boss a man wanted to perform oral sex on her. Hi. Buckle in. I work as a pharmacy technician. I'm fairly new at the job, only been there about 6 months. For some background info, pharmacy techs can do a lot of the same things a pharmacist can. We're usually the ones who are filling your prescriptions, trying to understand your insurance, and hoping and praying we're transcribing your doctor's awful handwriting correctly so we don't accidentally kill you. Sometimes, a doctor or some other medical professional will call the pharmacy and dictate a prescription over the phone. A pharmacist has to then write it down by hand like they're writing the prescription the Miss Vase. We get that a lot with pet medications because some offices don't have electronic script sending capabilities. When we get a call like that, us techs put the person on hold and tell the pharmacist that someone's calling in a prescription, and then they can do their thing. Earlier today at work, we were pretty fully staffed. I'm on good terms misseth my coworkers and like them, but I'm a lot younger than them and I'm still new and scoping out the area, you know? But we have fun at work, and I like my job. This makes what happens next even more embarrassing. Anyways, one of the phones starts ringing. I pick it up. It's a doctor calling in a med for someone. No problem, right? So I put them on hold and say something to the pharmacist on duty, who just so happens to be the department manager and my boss, about how there's a prescriber on the phone. We're getting pretty busy with people trying to pick up their meds, so I go up front to help with the line. The department itself is very small, so we can all kind of speak at a slightly raised voice at most. My boss had been distracted and asks me what I'd said, and without thinking, I very clearly say, "There's a doctor on the phone who wants to give it to you orally." Of course, the timing is perfect so that everyone is quiet at that exact moment, and everyone, coworkers, patients, probably the Pope, heard what I'd said. There's an old lady trying to get her heart meds that looks like she's about to faint. I thought I was about to keel over and die on the spot. I kind of wanted to. Thankfully, after what felt like eternity but was probably just a couple of seconds in which I could swear I heard crickets chirping, my boss and everyone else, okay, not the old lady, I think I took a year off her life, starts laughing and life goes on. I'm in the clear, but I am never going to live this down. Today I messed up by cheating with my coworker and planning to run away together. Throw away to protect identity. I work in international live events that take weeks to pull off. I typically coordinate them and work with a team to install and operate. I'm close with my coworkers, but we live across the world and fly into every event. I've met most of my coworkers in person, but this event we had someone new working sound, Clint. I'd seen him in Zoom calls but we hadn't interfaced directly. This event was a big one for the company, big headliner and big partners with a lot of money being tossed around. I arrived at the install, got caught up to speed, met Clint, and got to work. One by one, my coworkers were sent off to other events. Clint and I were left to finish everything up, but bad weather and huge letdowns by one of our vendors had us in hot water. We started working 15 to 20-hour days to get everything done on time. After our long haul days, Clint and I would hang out and blaze, legally. We had a lot in common, and were vibing like neither of us felt before. We were both married, unhappily. His wife had a bunch of medical problems and was really good at spending money and never leaving school. My husband had turned into an angry person, had built up a pile of debt, and was not putting anything into the relationship. It started out platonic, but things got extremely stressful and our sexual tension started building up. The lack of sleep, stress, and my lower tolerance for cannabis left me questioning everything about my life. We both felt like the other person was an extension of ourselves. We were kindred spirits. Slowly, Clint started making moves and suddenly dinners were turning into dates, and we were hanging out in each other's hotel room. We crossed many lines, but right as we crossed the final line, my brain kicked back in and we decided to take care of our lives before going further. Over the last few days of the event, Clint and I continued to be close. We made plans to leave our spouses, sell our houses, and travel together. We created a bucket list of places to go, things to do and see together. We even talked about eventually building a little cabin. Clint had planned on getting a tattoo dedicated to me when he returned home. At the end of the event, we went our separate ways and kept in touch virtually. Lots of sexting and unprofessionalism all around. We had agreed we wouldn't tell our partners about the affair as they each have mental health issues, but we planned to divorce and move on with our lives. After a few days at home, I talked with my husband and asked for divorce. I told him I wanted to move away and start my life over. Clint talked to his wife, but things were messier. She was volatile, and her family made it difficult for Clint to outright leave her. Eventually, I noticed Clint was becoming distant. Still sexual, but not as emotionally available. He sent me pictures of his new tattoos, which were nothing like what he had said he was planning to me. Alarm bells were going off in my head, but I kept plodding along, planning mine and our escape. Clint went off to a series of anniversary-related dates with his wife and kept leaving me on read. I asked him what was going on a number of times. Finally, after weeks of mixed signals, Clint told me he was having doubts. We video chatted during work, and he told me he owed it to his wife to try and make things work. Now I'm left to pick up the pieces of my life. Most of my friends are my coworkers, so I have no one to talk to about my heartbreak. I don't have the money to fix my problem at home or to leave and live alone in another country. There's no going back with my husband as I know it would be wrong, and I'm no longer interested in carrying the relationship. I'll see Clint again in a few weeks at another event, where we'll likely be left alone for hours at a time, but he plans to stay faithful to his wife, and we never even got to have the mind-blowing sex we talked about. Today I messed up by not opening a gift from a stranger from the internet. Back in 2021 I had received a package from a man I met on Reddit, C. We had been chatting back and forth inconsistently and at times would do little exchanges since we couldn't see each other. He'd pick out candles and send them to me, I'd bake cookies and send them to him. Stuff like that. I honestly do not even remember the impetus for him to send this package, maybe college graduation? Anyway, I get this ginormous infrared sauna blanket on my doorstep and I'm easily overwhelmed and I have ADHD. Let's just say this whole box got shoved in a closet somewhere after I had barely opened it just to confirm that there was, in fact, something resembling a sauna blanket in its original packaging, so I didn't sound stupid when I said thank you. Of course, I texted him expressing my gratitude, like, oh my goodness, that is so thoughtful. Yes, I use it all the time now, it's basically a self-care go-to. All the shit you would say to someone who got you a gift you don't use and have not opened. It got left in its box for over 2 years, and now, here I am, opening the box all the way for the first time to see if it still works because now I do infrared sauna sweats at studios. Figured this could finally have a use case. Well, not only did I discover a note in the box I hadn't seen before, I also discovered another box. This man had also sent me a really nice vibrator, and today I messed up on several counts realizing I had not opened this box sooner. 1. The sauna blanket itself, and also just being grateful and polite too. The high-quality vibrator I've been missing from my life for 2 years. 3. The fucking note confirming what a catch this guy was and eventually losing contact with someone that was able to assess my needs so well. Today I messed up by not following the ritual of shaving my beard the night before. It happened to me today. Since I wake up very early to go to work, I usually shave my beard the night before. Last night, I was getting ready to shave my beard, as I hadn't done it for 3 days. But I looked in the bathroom mirror and thought, screw it, I'll shave tomorrow when I wake up. Today I woke up, had a shower and started shaving. At one point the shaver stopped working. I thought it was the battery, but no, the shaver just died. And guess what? I had no other object to shave my beard with. As I was already very late for work, and I have the principle of never being late, I decided to go to work with one side of my face shaved and the other side of my face unshaven. Conclusion. Considering that my job involves dealing directly with people, you can imagine how my morning went. I've had several clients make fun of me. There was one who looked at me and said, "I'm not going to trust you anymore, you're a two-faced man." It was only at lunchtime that I managed to buy a new shaver and shave the side of my face that was full of hair. My advice to all men: always have a spare shaver for any eventuality.